Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddard. Today, I'm bringing to you somebody who's going to help you understand the importance of and the need to have your value extend outside of the real estate transaction. You're going to hear more about why that's so important in today's world. Before I do that, I want to remind you that inside of the Think Bigger Real Estate group on Facebook, you're going to get to take your learning and go deep with it to where it's not just surface level, we're going deep. So join us there if you're not already there. Today's guest, he's well known in the real estate industry. He's the founder and CEO of Spark Tank Media, very innovative coaching organization, doing some really, really great things there. I learned about Jeff because I heard him speak recently at an Inman event. He's graced that stage, as well as he's been voted one of the industry's number 100 or one of the industry's 100 most influential people. Please help me welcome and thank you, Jeff Lobb, for coming on the show today.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Justin. I'm glad to be here. Always thrilled to be getting some FaceTime with some awesome people.
Yeah, thank you. I feel the same way. You know, people often ask, like, do you like your podcast? I'm like, no, I love it because I get to meet cool people like you. Okay. And just it's my personal growth plan. It's my networking plan. It's fantastic. So thank you for accepting the invite and being willing to come and share. It's a great honor to have you here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Talk to us a little bit about your background. I know you were in the industry for many years to where when you speak from experience, right? This isn't hypothetical. This is, hey, I did this and it worked. I did this and it failed. Follow me, right? Talk to us a little bit more about maybe why that's important and a little bit about that experience.
Sure. Yeah. I'm very transparent for those that do know me. I try and speak, the pros and cons of everything because not everything is just, unicorns and butterflies, especially in our business. But I've been in sales really long time. 1988, I started in real estate. Wore the gold jacket proud, knocked on doors for a living because that's all we had, right? There was no technology. There wasn't even a fax machine, I don't think. But you know what? You learn things sometimes without technology because you learn how to actually do the business, and the business we're in. And it really relates even to mortgage and title as well. But the real estate business is really not about real estate. It's about people, right? It's the people business. Real estate's the product. So when you start to learn how to communicate and connect with more people and talk to them and build that comfort level, you deal with the trials and tribulations of all that from success and failures. But I've been an agent, team. I've run brokerages. I think I had 4 or 5 at any one time. And it's a handful for sure. So I understand that brokerage mentality. I spent a good 7 years as an executive for a large franchise brand where we were able to go from 500 offices to 800 offices. So I got to see that growing pain across US and Canada. And Spark Tank Media, we launched to do a lot of speaking, training, coaching of really the industry at large, but we do spread outside our industry. Mortgage and title are real big for us, and even some entrepreneurs outside that space.
I love it, Jeff. Sounds like you're really making a big impact in the industry, right? I love what you said there about the product. Say that one more time in case people didn't register. What is the product of real estate?
People. The product is real estate. People are the business. Okay. Right? We're in the business of people. People are the ones that live in the homes that make the decisions that generate all the cash flow. And they're the ones you have to build like and trust with. The real estate, the physical piece of real estate, while it might be a home to many, is the product. Our job is to get like and trust with people. They will then in turn trust you with your product, whatever product that might be.
I love that because again, when you bring back into consideration the fact that we are in the people business, it really starts to change the way that you interact with people. I know there's a lot of emphasis on building automations, on creating these touch points that have no humanity in them, right? And granted, we can't be all things to all people everywhere all the time. I get the value of technology. You and I are leveraging it right now, right?
That's right.
But I do believe that when you think again about the business of real estate, is people, it does make you start to consider like, how should I be communicating and how can I really serve people, right?
I think one of the biggest, failures in a lot of our business is some automation. Automation is good for a lot of systems, a lot of duplicated process. When it comes to communicating though, I'm really, and I be careful how I say it, but automation of digital junk mail is not really being human and communicating with people. It's just because you said it and think you're forgetting, it doesn't mean they're going to give you that repeat business. There's no human connection there in most of the cases. So we struggle with that and we try and teach around that to, what does the consumer really want? Like, what would you open? And, I'll share this, Justin. This is a funny conversation. I did this on stage and I wasn't even prepared to do it, but I just said it. And I said, listen, how many of you have digital, CRMs that automate? And a lot of people raise their hands. I said, well, think about this. If you put yourself in your own email campaign, how many of you would actually open it and find value in it on a monthly basis? And you had to watch the response. Like all of them, like, holy crap. Like I wouldn't even open my own emails. So then why do you send it? Like, why? What makes you do that? So it's really, I think, a problem that we need to solve. And we're working on some of those strategies for sure.
It's interesting. There's a lot of talk, especially this week and last week, about Zillow and automation moving into the business, squeezing, price points and kind of the end-to-end platform that they're creating. And I think oftentimes we go about trying to solve the problem of rising above industry disruption by trying to out-tech the tech portals, right?
Yeah.
And to your point, when people send out a set it and forget it, it's a true recipe for being forgotten, right?
That's right. You're annoying people is what you're doing. And that's unfortunately driving them away versus closer.
Yeah. Thank you for filling up my inbox with more stuff that you don't even know what's in the email because you didn't even create it. Some like stock crap, right?
Stock crap. It's just digital, right? Nothing that means anything relevant to me whatsoever. It means you don't even know me. You know nothing about me.
Yeah. You just solidified the fact that a robot will be just as good because you're acting like one, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Jeff, let's talk about, again, this concept that you really were asked to speak on at the big Inman event, which is adding value outside of the transaction. I think, again, real estate agents have had this transactional mentality of I'm going to offer big levels of service from the time that you sign the agreement to the point that we're at closing and I hand you the keys and now I sign off and I'm done. And boy, from A to B during that time frame, I'm a rock star. And you may very well be, and that I believe is not just necessary, but it's now the baseline. You have to do that, right? Or you're not in business.
That's right.
I think those that are going to continue to grow are going to do what you taught. And I really want to engage in that conversation with you now of what should they be doing outside of the transaction? Obviously, we've identified that spam drip emails is not going to be what you recommend. So what should they be doing?
Well, I think a lot of this stemmed from, early on, before pre-Facebook, a lot of my own personal business was built on networking and prospecting unique ways, right? Because people don't like to prospect there. They struggle, there's fear, there's rejection. But, we found ways to do that. And I used to find ways, like if we were going to farm an area and I'm like, okay, I could go knock on all them doors, great. But I learned that if I can go strategize with all the people that serve that area, meaning all the local business owners, and provide value to them, they know all the people that live in those homes because they're standing in line every morning for coffee or bagels or whatever it is. So all that evolved. And then once you start understanding that process, you realize that, the people need to be communicated with at a different level. We have to give value first. And I think we start to lose. So after the sale is done, we start to lose that connection of being human and paying attention to everything they're doing on social, because the social feed will not give you that information. It'll give you sporadic algorithms, right? So how do you humanly stay in touch? And I think what really stemmed this migration to our concept of creating this ecosystem, which you and I spoke about, is we're only good for like one or two things in the consumer's eyes, right? So what triggered this a lot is during the pandemic stuff that we were dealing with early on, the goal was that your database has always been your gold mine. So let's go back to it. They were making phone calls and I'd get on some of our coaching calls and they're like, hey, I called, 25 of my past clients this week. I'm like, that's awesome. What'd you say? How did it go? Because I realized that agents, after like how you doing? How's everybody feeling? Like there's nothing left. And I said, when you're talking about this small talk, what do you think the consumer's thinking about? They haven't heard from you in about a year. What do you think they're thinking? And they're like, I don't know what you mean. I'm like, well, hey, my realtor's calling me. That's nice of them. Not really looking to buy or sell. So we're pretty good. And then it gets awkward because that's all they think you're good for. And yet at the same time, you'll go and look in some Facebook group and they're asking random questions like, I need a recommendation for a good landscaper for spring cleanup. Who knows one? And they're asking strangers in a group for recommendations. When I say, why aren't you calling your real estate agent? Why don't you? Because they don't see the value of you. And I know if I ask any real estate agent, they're like, look, I have a ton of resources, but your clients don't know about it. And you probably know a lot more about that, but your clients don't see that value in you. So you're not an ecosystem. You're really just a one or two-way real estate relationship, nothing beyond community, nothing beyond the recommendations you have for value around real estate. and all the businesses that you know in town that people buy in the community that you sell. So there's so much more to evolve, not just from prospecting, because to me, if I can use a value proposition, like one of the things we teach a lot is, you got these Facebook pages that are doing nothing, right? Unless you're running ads, you're not getting engagement from it because the algorithm won't let you. So why aren't you just creating an awesome page that's called the best of, Monmouth County or the best of whatever county? And I go prospect businesses like, hey, my name's Jeff Lobb. I'm with XYZ Realty. Listen, we created an awesome Facebook page that's talking about all of the best things in our town and community. And I would love to highlight your bagel store, pizzeria, dance studio, karate thing. And I would love to recommend you to all of our real estate clients. Would you be okay with that? And you think about this, like, here's a business owner. And quite frankly, I did this before Facebook was born. And I'll never forget the very first one I did. I didn't have like a special script for it. He just, a young owner, and he looks at me and goes, well, that sounds great, but what's it going to cost? How much? And he was a young Italian guy. I'm like, no, we don't. I didn't have an answer, to be honest. What I really just said sounded really smart, Just. I'm like, no, we don't charge for this. I said, I sell a lot of real estate in the area. And a lot of my real estate clients are always looking for a new place to go or someplace different. I'd love to recommend you guys. You've been doing a great job for years, and I love your product. Can I promote you? Next thing you know, like, I'm elevating this business owner that I know delivers to my entire farm area all day long. I wanted to just create the relationship. If you go to Gary Vee's book, The Jab, 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 Right Hook, like, these are jabs. These are nice little gives. Yeah. And meanwhile, I get some content for my page. I create an ongoing relationship because now he sees me as like some guy that's doing awesome by him or her. And we develop that culture. Now I'm becoming more of a value to my community and prospecting at the same time, indirectly. So I think we struggle there to connect those dots. We're looking for the easy way.
I love it, Jeff. Now I know you actually spoke at Gary Vee's big event that happened at Hard Rock Stadium a few years ago, which is, again, quite the honor. You, Tom Ferry, and some others talking about real estate. It says a lot about, again, the kind of the level of expertise that you bring to the industry. Yeah. I agree with you. I think that our industry, the only way for real estate professionals to remain well paid and at the center of the transaction is simply to be more valuable and be sure to be able to communicate that value so the client knows that they're getting more than they would get through a tech portal, right?
That's right.
So it's not like we're just going to be able to like trick them into thinking that we're better and we're charging way more, but we're delivering the same service. We actually have to be better. And what you just described there, I think, is one key way that agents can go about being more valuable, is that you're not just taking care of the real estate transaction. You're saying, what are my clients going to need before and after? And ideally with as things as big as possible, right? The bigger the concern you solve, the more valuable you are.
Yep.
And the more that you can, again, insert yourself into their life and be present all the time.
That's it.
To where they don't look outside of you. In fact, it was funny when we moved to the little community where we're at, the realtor that actually sold us the house, she'd been here for a long time. And I actually called her at one point. I said, you're like my own personal Yelp. Like, I just call you for everything. Like, she's become a very dear friend and fantastic realtor. But that's like, I just knew that she like not only had expertise in the transaction, but she also had a deep love of the community and a deep desire to give back and to support local businesses and be sure that business stayed here and that people were happy here and that they got, that we all fell in love with the community like she'd fallen in love with it.
Right.
And she's, again, continues to live that way. And that's why she's a super high producer. I love that. Again, I think that's human, right? That's humanity at its finest, is like stepping up to benefit businesses and your former clients. It's fantastic.
Right. And imagine, just your example couldn't be more spot on. Imagine if, like, I've been in my home, this home I'm in now for, let's say, 6 years, right? And I still have a ton of contacts in the space, but occasionally things happen. Like the painter I used to use now retired and is in the Carolinas. So I need a new painter, someone to come in and do. So we're always looking for someone who's your go-to. And rather than Google or, we all want that referral business. Yet if I could just imagine if I thought of my real estate agent, I mean, obviously we're in that business, but imagine if I always thought of the real estate agent as the go-to, as that Yelp for all things, because you trust them already. They know the community. They've got always great suggestions for you. And a lot of times they may give you multiple choices because they have to give a few, but they're a great resource. And right now it's only, we send out marketing to them in hopes that one day they'll call us. And there's no two way about that. It's one way. And a lot of times that way is really just annoyance, not value.
Yeah, we're just speaking at them, right? As opposed to really serving them and hearing them. If somebody's listening to this today, Jeff, and let's say that they've had a tendency to kind of talk at people or have some automated service talk at them, right? Like we talked about before, where it's not even their voice, it's not their content. They just felt like, okay, I need to do a 33 touch. And so I had somebody do it for me, right? And they're like, yeah, that's not working so well. Like my people aren't really coming back, or they're not referring. Like I need to start taking a step in that direction. What are a few tactical things that people could do like today to really start to kind of pivot and go back to their database?
Yep. And I think it's the gold mine is in your database, always has been. But I think take that 33 touch, whatever that system is, and change it. Meaning, if I was going to be a consumer, what does the consumer want? So if I'm a homeowner, what are things that I want to know about my community? And I think there's always that curiosity that wins. How many times are we sitting around going, I would love a new place to go try. Like, what's something fun to do with the kids on a weekend? What are my 3 favorite restaurants that might say, oh, we should try any one of these 3? And if I haven't, like, we would actually take the shot as a homeowner and go, like, let's go try that. I've never been there before. What are those things that you can recommend or make them feel part of that community that they would care about? And it extends to such depth of, where's the best dog park? Like if you have a pet, like who's not thinking of the best place to go take a hike in your community? Whatever it is, those things become personal. Yeah. And you should be taking that opportunity to deliver that versus, but that's time and work, Justin. That may take somebody's time. Imagine, like we have to spend time, but that's the stuff that if you change it once for this year and you keep evolving it, it's really not. And I think you'll find, the other trigger to some of this we found that works really well, you want tactical, is especially if you take that same concept and make it a social post. But anytime you say like, these are my 2 or 3 favorite places, what's yours? These are 1 or 2 of my favorite, painting contractors. Who should I be talking to? Like, what's some of your favorite people that are working around your home? Because now they love to give that advice. And I would love to also know, who are they using that's doing a really good job that I should be talking to? Some of my best business came from my landscapers, my personal friends in the business that were doing the other businesses. Because anytime they heard the word real estate, hey, we're doing a spring cleanup. Can you do a little extra mulch because we're going to getting ready to sell the house? Hey, do you have a real estate agent yet? And my landscaper would be my salesperson. Like that's where you create the magic, because I brought so much value to them. I was top of mind no matter where they went. Yeah. So that's how you grow.
I love that. You're unknowingly pushing my book, The Upstream Model, which is exactly that concept, Jeff. You just described is that there are other professionals in the industry, in the marketplace, outside of our industry, that all day, every day are serving their clients. And they may already be uncovering the fact that a real estate transaction is coming, or with 1 or 2 more questions, it actually helps elevate their level of service anyway. Right. They're able to uncover the fact that, hey, these people are moving. They're doing this landscaping, like you said, or they're carpet cleaning, or they're adjusting their 401k because they're getting ready to make a real estate move. That's right. And you start to add value to those professionals, and all of a sudden you've stepped way ahead of the competition. You're able to get access to warm referrals from these professionals before Zillow can ever turn it into a lead, right? Which is powerful.
That's right.
I want to talk really quick, kind of one more thing here, and I'd love your insight on this. I actually had a friend of mine who owns kind of a digital agency, and we were talking yesterday, and he said, I have a practice now of reaching out every day and asking for referrals from 2 of my clients. And he said, it's amazing when I reach out to real estate agents, and I've been serving them oftentimes for months, if not years. They're very happy with my service. And I say, hey, I've got a good working relationship with you. Are there any other agents that might be a good fit for me? And he said, it's amazing how bad some of these real estate agents are at referring. Like they're super uncomfortable with it, yet they want to be good referral receivers, but they're not good referral givers. And it was really interesting to me. And we kind of had this conversation of like a great teaching point for agents is if you really want to start getting warm referrals, you need to start giving them, just like you talked about, right? To a landscaper, to even a pizza place, to a financial advisor. Like if you really want to start receiving, you need to start like reciprocating. You've got to start, like you're going to have to be the leader here. You're going to have to say, I'm going to go find the very best of the best, whether it be the best park, right, an inanimate object, or the best professional in all these areas. And I'm gonna be like a referral machine. I'm gonna tell people about these people, and it'll be amazing. I think once people start to realize, like, oh, that's how you give referrals. Guess what? It'll start to come back in droves.
That's right. And I think sometimes it's even not even like the big obvious. Everyone wants to go like, oh, the restaurants, because everyone's popular.
Yeah.
But if you think really about the community, like, you know, I have children, right? So where do my kids go? Because guess what? Where kids go, parents go. And where parents go, they live in the homes. So like, where's the little karate studio that at 7 o'clock at night, the guy's working a second gig to make karate work for kids? But you know what? Where are all the parents sitting when the karate's happening? Well, now with COVID, they might be in their cars, but usually they're sitting out in the lobby somewhere,
right,
where the parents are talking, or the dance studio, or all the people with the second hustles making this community work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are all the people are hanging out. So you need to be where the people are. And sitting in the office, a lot of times, it's great to get your work done, but the people aren't there. I used to tell people all the time, how many of you go through drive-through in the morning? Like, you know, again, pre-COVID, let's go pre-COVID. Go through the drive-through. Great. I said, so you're hustling through the drive-through to get to your office where no one is. And yet all your potential customers that live in the houses right around you are standing in line that you just ignored. They're in the space. And you just left them there because you got to get to the office because it's busy. Right. And yet your business is right there.
Man, Jeff, that is such a profound insight, right? We hustle past the opportunities so we can go sit in front of a screen and hope people pay attention to the stuff that we're like aimlessly speaking at them. Right?
I got most of my business from, like, I made part of my farming and marketing strategy with a wrapped car. Like, it was always wrapped with a brand. I parked in the front, and between 7:30 and 8 o'clock every morning, you could find me at Dunkin' Donuts in my community. And I was there with purpose. And yes, I love my coffee. I am still there. But at the same time, that's where I knew all the people that lived where the homes I wanted to sell would stop before they went to work. So that's a way to find them and be present. And it was a way to just say hello, buy some coffee, not pitch anybody, just be meeting people.
Well, I think you're also listening, right? When you're there, you're hearing what their needs are, and then you're finding that they need a landscaper. You're finding that they need an attorney. They're finding, like, and all of a sudden now you're able to not only be of help to them, but to the professional partners that you're bringing into the picture, right? That you want to be receiving referrals from. You can't figure out why they're not sending them. Well, right, I think we figured that out. So yeah, this has been so fun. I've absolutely learned so much from you, and I know our audience has as well. And I know they continue to will as they download the podcast, etc. I want to now move to the kind of the final segment of the show.
Sure.
I'm a personal growth fanatic. Like, I just love it. My wife makes fun of me. My mom used to make fun of me because, like, all I would read is, like, you know, these nonfiction 7 habits. You know, I mean, that's kind of where it all started, right? Yeah. And that's really my passion, is to help to wake people up to the potential inside of them. Sure. And I know you're a big thinker. You've done some amazing things. What does Jeff Lobb do to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to grow and expand your possibilities?
You know, I think everyone's very, very busy doing a lot of things. And there's times where, you know, we all, listen, you need to be open-minded no matter who you are, no matter what level and hat you wear. And I think a lot of it comes from some of our own. I have a few mentors of mine, some of which I speak to regularly, some that I reach out to on special, like, projects or mindset things. And I think you need to always be listening to others outside the industry. So many of the ideas come from outside our industry. And it's because sales and marketing in so many different places, and people are people all over the place. So I think a lot of what I do is I like to listen to other parts of the sales and marketing industry outside of real estate. And it's amazing some of the thoughts, because let's face it, I think really most of our business is between our ears. It's our mindset, right? If you feel like garbage in the morning, you don't want to go do any of the work, never mind put out the fires you have to put out. So how do you kind of prepare for that? I think a lot of it's listening to others outside the space. It helps me a lot.
Man, that's good, Jeff.
Where I get it from.
So good. I love that. And again, we do tend to be a bit myopic, right? And we can only learn from these types of people. And it's like, can we not learn from Apple and Nike and, right, some of these massive brands to sales and marketing, from Gary Vee, like you mentioned, right, who's never had a real estate license, but can we learn stuff from these people that are expert at some of the innate skills that we need to have? It's awesome. Yeah. Jeff, how do people get in contact with you? If they're like, man, I like this guy, I want to continue to learn from him, maybe I even want to be a client of Spark Tank Media, like, where do people go?
Sure. I mean, a bunch of places, but email Jeff at Spark Tank Media. You could just Google Jeff Lobb. I'm sure I'll be somewhere on there. But our Facebook page, our Instagram account is pretty happening. And then sparktankmedia.com is where I guess we can showcase some of our stuff. And we have a bunch of products, a bunch of different offerings. But the reality is just, if you're someone that's really willing to hustle, I made a conscious decision a ways back when I left the corporate world for a while. I no longer want to fight people to be better. I'm not going to try and get somebody that, like, if you want to pay me to do something and you're not willing to do the work, I love you, but no, thank you. Because I can't function with people who don't want to at least try. It's okay to try and fail 100 times. I'm with you. I'll be your biggest fan. But at least I only want to work with people who want to be better. And if not, that's okay. You're just not for us. So it's really a mindset I've had to shift to, because I would frustrate myself working with people who just never would do the work and never wanted to at least try. And I'm no longer going down that path in my career. So tons of opportunity. I'm thrilled to help people who want to be better, but that comes down to the individual, right?
Well, if I mean, imagine surrounding yourself, and it sounds like you're doing this, and I believe all of us should really evaluate, say, who do we want to spend our time with? And for you, it's people that are hungry to grow, right? Same with me. Like I don't have the bandwidth or interest at all in being around people that aren't wanting to better themselves. And you can craft your life to be how you want it to be. So why not choose people, whether that be clients a certain way or peers, or again, just your energy and your expertise has been, again, somebody that I want to be around. So thank you again for sharing so much, your expertise, being so generous with your time. It means a lot to me, and I know to those that will continue to listen to what we have to say. So appreciate you. And my final request of everybody listening here today are the 3 simple words. You know what they are. They are go think bigger. Jeff Lobb, thank you for helping us do that today, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.